silakan kita jemput dengan hormatnya Dr. Yvonne Sum. Ibu silakan.
Sungguh gembira kembali ke Kuching tahun 2006 saya bersekolah di St. Teresa. Harap maaf yang presentation ini dalam bahasa Inggris karena sudah lama tak berbahasa, tak cakap lagi. Tak harap maaf. Good morning. How's everybody this morning? I can't hear you. How's everybody this morning? Fantastic. On my way here, I'm very honored to come back because I was a young child here, growing up in my very, very difficult teenage years, when my parents did a very good job looking after me. I also got to do a lot of things at the homes of my friends from St. Teresa's and looked at what their parents had done for them. So I've traveled around the world talking about parenting. Parenting is one of the most important jobs in the world. I only realized how important it is when I became a mother myself. My father and my mother did a fantastic job looking after 4 girls. How many of you got 4 girls to look after? And you know what that's like? Lots of taka, lots of sometimes fighting. And for many, many years, I was very scared to have children of my own. Why? Because my parents did such a good job with us. I felt I could not live up to that standard. So when I fell pregnant 7 years ago with my first child, I was very scared. I thought, what am I going to do? I'm only a child. How can I look after another little person? And what I realized now, 7 years down the track, I realized that our children not only are here so that we can teach them the best things in life and about our values and our beliefs and about our culture so that they can pass it on to the next generation, but they, each one of your children, even if you're not a mother yet, every child that you see is tomorrow's leader. And I believe every one of them is born a genius. They don't have the limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves that we tak boleh. Mereka boleh. Have you ever seen a child that fell down 3 times and say, I'll never walk again? They pick themselves up and they learn how to walk. Mereka boleh. So what the children are put on this earth is to be a gift to adults, to parents, as a way of teaching us to live life to its fullest. And that's what I'm here to talk about this morning. I want to talk about parenting for now, because what we do now is very important for tomorrow and for future generations. One of the things I'm going to talk about is that a lot of people are going to share stories with you. I'm going to share this story particularly with you because it meant a lot to me. One of my teachers said to me when I was a little girl, and I didn't understand this, but now today as I sit here looking at faces, I understand what this is about. I'll share you this story. In the world, in the mountains, there lived many gods. And on this highest of mountains long, long ago, the gods decided that humankind deserved a great treasure to be given to them. But a lot of the other gods said, no, 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 no. good enough. We must hide it from them. And as the gods thought about it, they said, yeah, they're always fighting amongst each other. They don't really want to learn. They just want to be fighting. They don't deserve this magic. They don't deserve this treasure. So where shall we hide it? So one god said, I shall hide it at the top of the mountains. They'll never find it there. Oh, no, said another god. They'll climb those mountains and they'll find it. So they said, no. We'll take it to the rapids in Sarawak and put them there. They'll never find it there. Through all the water and rocks. Oh, no, said the god. They are adventurous. They will be willing to find it there. Until a very small voice from a very little god came out and said, excuse me, I think I've got an idea. Let's hide this treasure in all human hearts. They'll never find it there. And you know what? I found that of late, I work in the corporate world where there's a lot of things about IQ where we used to get hired because of our university degrees. But now, we get promoted because of our EQ. And what's EQ? Emotional intelligence, matters of the heart. So after so many years of this being hidden away, at long last in the workplace, we are finding what we found at home for many years, that it is about the matters of the heart that matter. So today, what I do is I bring parenting concepts, the basic roots of really valuing your beliefs and values, of going down to the basics of love and intention into the workplace so that we can feel like we have got a heart, that there is treasure that we can share. So today, I may be talking to you about parenting from the perspective of having children. But I challenge you that in every one of us there is a leader. Whether it's at the home or in the workplace, then you can take the magic of the heart and use it in the workplace so that you can build better relationships. We won't kill our own family, will we? We won't fight and compete with our families, will we? We support them. We challenge them to be the best. And that's what parenting for the future generations means if we start it right now. So what I'm going to cover this morning, if you can read the very small print at the front, is I'm going to tell you what parenting has remained the same through the ages, what it means to be the same. I'll also tell you what it is that parenting will be different from now and into the future. Because even though we are all basically the same through the ages, our hearts really haven't changed. But technology around us has changed. So with the technology, sometimes we've lost connection. So let's get back to connecting with ourselves in the heart. So what will be different from the future is to come back to the basics using technology to bring us closer together. How many of us have been SMSing our family and friends? I mean, that's using technology to keep connected. But I'm even saying even more. Let's get connected by feelings, by a sense of love and intention that will bring us all together beyond the SMS. Using techniques of language. All of you speak many different languages. Bidayu, Iban, Malay, Chinese, could be Hokkien, could be Mandarin, could be Cantonese. But we all have got a similar language of the heart that does not change. And I want to instill in our children, through us, loving each other with matters of the heart so that we are role models for our children. Children don't just expect you to tell them what to do. Children copy you. Monkey see, monkey do. So if you are a mother and you tell them, hey you, don't watch so much television, do your homework. And then after that, as they do the homework, you sit there and watch television. Not a good role model. So we've got to basically show the children not what we say, but what we do. Be proud of our beliefs and our values. And in every one of my courses, what I tell people is not the food, just the food you feed your children, not the words that you tell them, but the way you behave. To uphold the values that matter to you. Because if you can live your values and show it to the children, they will tell them how to learn your language? Did you have to sit down with a book on Vidayu and teach them? Maybe just to get the finer points of the language. But at 2 years old, before they could read, they started to talk like you. Because for 2 years as babies, sitting there crawling, crying, and just looking at you, they have been watching you. So they're absorbing what you do. That also didn't come from the book. The book comes later, but they follow what you do. You didn't have to be a university professor in Vidayu to teach them how to speak Vidayu, did you? So that's what I mean. Please, live your life so that your children can imitate the best in you. And maybe the worst. But you know what? Your children can also show you your worst as a mirror. How many of you have scolded your children and said, "You stop it now"? And then someday later you see your little child saying to the younger brother, "You stop it now." Exactly the same voice, exactly the same tone, the angry and reasonable face. They imitate the good and the best. And if we can learn from our children by mirroring what it is that's bad in us, imagine how much we can learn. I bring you back to when my child was just born, Jet, whose name in Chinese means hero. Jie, Xiao Jie. And as he was coming through, being born, and I was in my labor pains, I remember my mother saying, when the child is born, you will feel unconditional love. And every woman feels it differently. So to fathers out there, you'll never feel this feeling at the time the child is born, because you'll never feel that kind of pain. But I know if you're there, you will understand the unconditional love that you have for your family. But as a woman, as the child is being delivered into the world, something magical happens. And this is what happened to me. Because I was so scared. I was so scared that I couldn't be a right parent, that I wouldn't do right by my parents, I wouldn't be a good enough mother. And as my child came through, I almost heard him say, in my heart, "Mom, don't worry. You'll be the best mother, and no matter what you do, I have a purpose. I have a destiny that you will never change, no matter how good or bad you think you are. You are here like a tour guide to show me the beauty of the world so that I may reach my destiny." And I said to my mother, I thought I heard my son say that when he was being born, and if that's unconditional love, I don't know what is. Because from that day forth, I believed that I was going to learn from my child by being a parent, and not just me being the teacher. In fact, I have a lot to learn from this child. I gave up my work as a dentist. I was a dentist for 10 years. When my child was born, to become a full-time mother. Because I loved being with my child so much that I loved it so much I had a second one in 2 years. And I stayed home with them, giving up a career of lucrative money and status to be a stay-at-home mom because I wanted to. Because during that time, I did the research of what it is like to bring love into our world. Love into our world and the love of learning. The child never stops learning. Do we stop learning? Do we think, "Ayah already took tua lah, tak boleh belajar lagi"? Think about yourself. Think about what it is in your life that you'd really love to pass on to the next generation. Something that you really love about yourself. Do you ever think about that? Or do you think about all the little things that doesn't work in my life? How many times as a young child have I been told, for my own good, by my teachers and everything, "How come you only got 98% for your maths? What happened to the 2%? Do we do that to our children? Do we not celebrate the 98% that they did well rather than the 2% that didn't?" So I want you to start counting the blessings in yourself, because if you count your blessings, they'll count theirs, including having a blessing of you as a mother, or an aunt, or a teacher, or whoever that's meaningful to them in their lives. I will talk about what it is to be an intentional parent. So like I said, what is it that remains the same? It's the heart. And I'm about to very quickly share with you something that I've read, which is called The Hero's Journey. It's by a very famous gentleman called Joseph Campbell, who looked at all the stories from around the world, whether it's Yvonne stories, or whether it's native in South America, or whether it's about Greek mythology. He has studied stories about people's adventures through the ages. And what he had found is that there is a cycle of life that we relate to these stories because it's like our lives. Every day our life is a soap opera. It's a life like a hero's journey. Only if you believe you're a hero. How many of you believe you're a hero? Put your hand up. Don't be afraid. Who thinks that they're not? Hey, some people are thinking that. Heroes. Heroes in any story, do they always just win the girl? Do they all kill the dragons? Do they always succeed? Do they? In the end, they always succeed. And that is a lesson to all of us. In the end, we always succeed. But during the course of our journey, we get knocked down. That it is a matter of whether we learn how to pick ourselves up. And remember that about the little child who at 6 months old tries to learn how to walk. If he or she fell down 3 times and decided I'll never walk again, none of us will be walking. So in the hero's journey, let me invite you that all of us in parenting is on a hero's journey. When you have a call to adventure, it was like me when I felt pregnant. And I refused to believe I was pregnant. And for a long time I refused to think I was a good mother. And that's when you actually have a refusal. But when I start to accept my adventure, a gift is given to me. And the gift is the child's. You remember the voice that talked to me? The voice that said that it's okay to be a bad mother, because in the end the child's destiny is set. We're just here like a tour guide. Show them the sights. Show them what, satay is. Show them how to be neighborly. All that sort of thing. But their life is set. And the gift is, every child to a parent is a mirror that will show them all their good points and their bad points. And it's up to us to be the best we can be. Then we have the next level, which is the supreme ordeals. Now when I talk about supreme ordeals, it is the adventures when we get really knocked down. How many of us have seen mothers where the child was killed in an accident? How does that do it for us parents? How many of us have you seen children lost to drugs and crime? How do the parents do? Now if you remember that a child is a gift to you to learn about yourself, I'm not asking you to find fault with yourself for having let that child drive away and get killed, or to let that child go into drugs because they mixed with the wrong crowd. Remember that that life is also given to make your life better. It is not, that child is not to have died in vain, but in that ordeal you become a stronger person. And I remember this very, very deeply because it happened in Kuching. And I'm about to talk about a friend of mine who probably doesn't want to be spoken about, but she and I were very good friends as teenagers. I was the orang kaya by heart. And she was one who would come from the other side, where just finding enough food was not the easiest thing. But she and I were joyful. We had a friendship that surpassed riches or education or whatever it might be. I went home to Australia to study my university. I had a career, I got married. 20 years later, I met this person again. And she had had a supreme ordeal. 2 years after I left for Australia, her whole family was killed in a disastrous accident, a flood, that killed every member of her family. Her sister, her brother-in-law, and my father already died previous to that. And she was left at 16 years of age with a younger sister who was barely 4 years old and a niece that was a baby. Not because she bore the children through her womb. She inherited these two children at 16 to either bring them up or die together. 20 years from now, I am so inspired that despite my education, despite what I know, despite what I have, I do not have that supreme audio to make me the stronger person that she is. And it is with admiration that I'm standing here today. One of the reasons why I'm standing here today and in the world talking about parenting is that day inspired me that parenting doesn't have to be from your womb. Parenting is about bringing up children because you want to be the best you can be, no matter what crisis happens. And those children now have a life of their own. One's married, about to have a baby, and one's her to be a grandmother. And I'm very proud of them. It also made me think, after her disaster, that I was going to write down everything I wanted my children to know should I suddenly die. On my way here on the plane, I added my documents, which I leave with my lawyers. If I should die, I want the guardian to not give them too much 7-Up. I write things like that. Because to me that's important. I don't want them to have rotten teeth. I was a dentist. I want them to know that I love them and I write things like, if you read this, I'm no longer here. But always know that I love you both very much. And more likely than the father isn't here as well, if they're reading this. So don't wait until you have cancer. Don't wait until you think you're going to die to actually write these things for your children. Or at least pass it on to the guardian of your children and talk about how you really love your children to be brought up. Because when you pass on, it'd be nice to pass those things on. But most important is to pass on your daily behavior to the children. And every day when I start to think about something that goes against a value that I know I'm trying to nurture in my children, I think twice. Because I think I can see them as angels sitting on my shoulder, that if I did something wrong by their eyes, that I would be very ashamed. What a great way. So as I said, with the hero's journey, we go through supreme ordeals. And with the supreme ordeals, you can either stay there and die at the bottom of that circle, or you rise up. You rise up to know that from that ordeal comes a success by actually seeing meaning in your life, as my friend did. That her life was more meaningful because she was there for those two children. And she was called to return back into the world from depression, into a world where she had to look for a job. She gave up school. She was going to get a scholarship that she had to turn down because she had no time to go to school. She had to find a place to live. She was thrown out of the house because the owner of that house, the person who was renting the house to them said, your family is bad luck. I want you to have a house. I want you to let it succeed. Then you have the reward. Because the reward to me now is that she is an inspiration to all of us women who complain about how hard our life is. But if you had that disaster at 16, will you have survived and come back to return on your hero's journey? So we do have a lot of power. In our lives, we talk about things like, yeah, so hard now, I gotta go to work, I got a family to look after, always my emotions get me down, I have to look because my mother-in-law is coming, I also got to study, I'm going to get promoted, and some more I have to pray because I'm very religious, things got a dump pad, fantastic. It is an issue around the world. Because more and more we are returning to the matters of the heart. We are beginning to see how important it is, the matters of the heart. So I invite you to look at that wheel of life and think that in that 8 quadrants is where your source of power is. So don't let one go. Don't leave one to say, okay, I'm just going to do everything for my family. Okay? In that quadrant there, do everything for my family and forget about my physical exercise because my health is not important. They have to eat healthy food, but I sacrifice myself and eat the not so fresh foods that my children can eat. That's not giving yourself power. Because if your children see you doing that, will they do that for their children later? Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to sacrifice, but imagine if you were also healthy and strong like that. That we can divide things and share equally. So let's share those sources of power where you can balance your health, your own well-being of your mind. You are here today to get food for your mind that you can take back to your homes, to your workplace, to be able to be better people. Remember what I said? We are all leaders. If nothing else, if you leave today to think, I am a leader in my life. I'm not a manager. I don't look after anybody but myself. I'm a single girl who's got nobody to worry about but myself. I lead my life, so I'm a leader. And how will I want to lead that life? So I can influence every member of my friends, family to be proud of me. And you can lead your life that way. I have done my message. Because when you become a parent, you will automatically do that. Because your children want to be proud of you. I have another friend that I really, really look up to. He is my bookkeeper. A man who just died of prostate cancer. Early this year, just before he died, I asked him, I said, you must be very, very upset because you'll be leaving behind 2 beautiful girls and a wife who loves you. How does that feel? And I said, and he looked at me with very bright eyes despite his illness. I know my children is proud of me because in all my life, one of the things they tell their friends is, my dad didn't love to do what he does. And because of that, we will remember him for that. They didn't remember whether he was a great tennis player. They didn't remember whether he was a rich man with lots of investments. They didn't remember whether he was a great pianist. They remember that their father chose to do what he loved, whether it's tennis, piano, or do the work that he loves. And in their lives, the children are going to live that life of loving what they do and choosing to do what they love, even though their father has passed away. And that is a legacy. And let us remember, it's not about just passing away. When you're living, let them enjoy you for what you enjoy. So I come to what remains the same. I call it the 7 R's of parenting, which is also in your booklet. In teaching children, we always talk about the 3 R's. Who knows what the 3 R's are? Reading, writing, arithmetic. Okay? It's the root sounds. And to the children, the 3 R's are important. We instill in them. You better read your books. You better do your homework and write all those stuff up. You better do your arithmetic and learn all your sums. Because we do believe those skills will put them in good stead. So what are the 7 R's of parenting? Not just 3, we've got 7. Because we should be a good example, so we should have 4 more to worry about. So the 7 R's of parenting, the first one is about respect. If we don't respect ourselves, how do you expect your children to respect you? will go for a walk. Because every child likes to go out in nature and pick the flowers and watch the bees. So they always look forward to that. Now, after they finish their homework, sure enough, it rains. And I get caught up in a conversation on the telephone, and it gets dark. Now, do I then go to the child and say, too bad, it's dark, it's cold, it's raining, we won't go for a walk right now? Or do I take them in the rain and let them catch cold? What do I do? Out of respect, as I would with any of my adult friends and family, I sit my children down and say, look, Jen, again, sorry, I got caught up on the phone call. Can't help it, it's raining. But can I just say that if we go out there, it's going to rain, get cold. Can we do it tomorrow twice as long? And I'll make sure no matter what phone calls I have, I won't take it. And right now, can we just sit and play Monopoly together? Now, a lot of times the children say, oh yeah, maybe we'll play Monopoly, we'll play Uno, or we'll play Snakes and Ladders, or whatever it might be. And suddenly the respect is that I have not just treated them like children and said, you're not important, I'm the big boss, and I'm telling you, it's raining, you're going to catch cold, and we're going to stay home. I've broken my promise. But in seeing that there is an emergency, like we could all get cold, I've now changed the game from walking to actually doing something else with them. It's still time with me, which is what they want. And now we negotiated a respectful relationship. And then there is the other R, which is rules. How many of you think children need rules? Only 3? When I was in Central Business, there was a lot of school rules. Okay. Well, I used to think when I was a child, the rules are terrible. So when I was going to be a mother, I was going to have no rules. Mistake. No rules. The child doesn't know the boundaries. And every time they do something, they have to ask me, Mommy, can I do that? Mommy, can I eat now? Mommy, can I take lollies out of the thing now? Mommy, can I go to my friends now? I always had to think that. It became really hard. So I said, I tell you what, we'll sit down and set down some rules so we all understand. I said, Mommy, it's very important for Mommy that you finish your homework first because, I care that you don't get in trouble with your teacher. And I care that you can learn how to read next time so I don't have to read your books all the time. So I said, that's important to Mommy. And the second rule is I said, I need my house clean. Because I live here too. And I don't want to be your servant girl. I'm your mother, I want time with you. Can I ask that when you finish playing with your toys and you finish doing your homework and finish eating, can you put those things away where you know Mommy wants them? You think impossible, I can't children not going to listen. You'll be surprised. They then tell me what rules they want. Mommy, it'd be really nice if we get to go swimming once a week. Doesn't matter where we love swimming. And Mommy, we would love to have a dog, but I know, we will have to look after the dog. So they also set up with some things that they wanted. And of course, Daddy had something that he wanted. So we then sat down and we actually created a very basic rules of the house that we all agreed on. My children are 7 and 5. We did that about 3 years ago. My child at 2 years old, even though her verbal skills wasn't very good, understood. Because she, of all people, now at 5 years old, is the one that tells her brother, can we put those things away? Not because she's a girl, but I think at 2 years old she really understood. So I must credit my children for the tidiness of the house. I have had friends come and say, oh, you didn't have to clean up, because you're coming. So I didn't clean up. They did, just they're part of their house. And which is really, really nice. And they also tell their friends, hey, if you don't clean up, my mom will let me come and visit anymore. So they can help you. And if they know the rules, it's much easier to play that boundary. When you have rules, you have freedom. It's funny that. When you have rules, you have freedom. Because you have freedom of choice to either break them or follow them. run and manage the household. Just running it. Just running your household. You are as much a manager in your household. I consider all mothers, if you already have a household, the CEO of your house. Chief Executive Officer, and your husband is just the GM. And you say, wow, like that one up. Yes. Because poor GM has a CEO position in his organization. He has to run his team at work. He doesn't need to be CEO at work. Some of them are. But who is going to know when some pipe is broken and has to get someone in? Who organized the Indonesian way to make sure the clothes are ironed? Not the GM. The CEO. You run your household. So, I really feel that if your child can see that you can lead your household with pride and work really well with your GM, so that you run a household that is fair with roles and routines that the children understand, everybody's happy. So just remember, you're managing. A lot of times we think, oh, but what we do at work, we can't do home. We can. The other thing is that what we have at home, we can bring to work too. Imagine you can love your team. If you're managing a team, you're a senior manager at work, and you manage a team like you are actually parenting the kids. Not picking up after them, not cooking all their meals at lunch, but delegating them in love, knowing, trusting that they will do it for you. So that's another thought. You can actually parent at work. And not parent like we used to. Not my mom used to pick up everything for me. But my father did. He says, make sure they do it. And that was the beginning of me thinking about how parenting should be. Okay. Now what have we got here? The next one is, how many times do we just go into our life and just do? Ayah, have to go shopping, have to buy all the groceries. Oh my God, the candle lesson, I'm running late. No time to review and reflect. Where's the time? There is time. In our work, we can step back and go into a retreat to do strategic planning, values and vision work. Do we do that at home? Do we go away and spend some time on a holiday and just have a holiday? Or do we step back and say, I have a really wonderful family. Everybody is well and healthy. And everybody's done really well. I should make sure I congratulate my son for having done 4 A's in his last exam. And what are we going to plan next year to do? Maybe we need to have, I know there has been a little bit of talk about cheating in class with my daughter. I think we need to revisit the values of honesty and integrity. So maybe that's something we need to talk about in this holiday so that we can actually take it home with us. Have you ever had a retreat with your family? No, a lot of times it's too hard. It happens at work, but we don't do it at home. So one of the things I have done in my workshops is learn to step back from your really busy lives at home and start doing a vision planning with your husband or your children. I involve my children because I ask them next year in 12 months, what would you like to have a goal of our family? Like one of them actually said they wanted dogs. Now to get dogs into place, the child will have to learn about reading about dogs, learning about what sort of food and what size dogs would for our family, about their age, what dogs are friendly with children. They have to do the research. I'm going to do the research for them. It's their dog. So if you've got a plan that in 12 months they're going to get a dog, they'll be excited to plan with you. And isn't that fun learning? So let's think about reviewing not only what we want to plan in the future with our family and involve them. Don't just think like we are. Because I am the boss, I will decide everything. Sometimes you do. Because the boss says, I don't like the boy you're hanging out with. He is very ill-mannered. You have to be directed too. I'm not saying you become soft and warm and fuzzy. But you do it with love. You say, let's sit down. Instead of you saying, oh, to my friend, I put Jimmy, not hanging out with that boy, he doesn't know you're saying that. You confront him. You talk to him. I don't like that boy. What is it that makes you want to hang around with him? You tell me, you can convince me you can hang out with him. But you can't, then you better listen to me because I am the boss. And I have made the rules that in this house we value honesty, integrity, and that person cheats. Because I have seen him cheat, not because I heard it from my friend. I saw him take something from the shop that day that I was shopping. So you can be directed, but you need to review and reflect. And also count the blessings. Always remember to celebrate, no matter how small the event. Remember when the child learned how to walk, we celebrate, oh, take the first step already. So what is it that we are doing that we celebrate? We celebrate that at the end of each day, everybody is sitting down together for dinner. How many of you find it so hard for the whole family to sit down to dinner? Everybody got their own plans. I find it hard. I got 2 young children under 7. And to get everybody together to sit down for dinner is hard. What happened to the old days when my mother and father always had us down for dinner? So let us celebrate everybody's together. Let's celebrate all the little things. It doesn't have to be big. But when there's a big thing, let's celebrate it and count it. Let's celebrate when we got a good word from our boss and tell your family. My boss is really happy with the work I did today, do you know? They want to hear about your mother being successful at work as well. When I win an award, I tell them. I bring them photos. I involve them. When I go to a job and some of my very familiar corporate clients, I met my children because they know how important they are to. And you will meet them today, hopefully, on the photos that you will see. Now, the other thing that's important is to reorganize. Because a lot of people say it's good to set up rules when the children are 7 and 8, but won't the rules change when they're 15, 16, 17? Yes. So in your job as manager, you need to learn how to reorganize. You review and reflect and start reorganizing what needs to be changed. So you don't have to get stuck with one rule just because me and my children sat down 3 years ago with one set of rules. Are they going to be the same set of rules when they're 15 years old? Some of them will be the same. But some of them need to be added to. Some of them need to be changed. You know, like for instance, at 2 years old, I have to say to my daughter, one of the rules is let's learn how to train her to sit on the potty. Now at 15, I don't need to train her to do that. So the little rules that we have to go around that. So let's learn how to be flexible. And even on a daily basis, I have to sometimes reorganize some things that we hold true and dear because something has happened that popped us in thinking that's not right. I mean, I remember one of the things was we value honesty and integrity. That's one of my highest values in our household. So if someone had done something dishonest, we really talk about it. Now one day, I got a letter in the mail which said I had a fine for running a red light. And I was about to say, oh, I was in a hurry. You're justifying. I was hurried to pick jet anyway. Nobody's been waiting in a hot sun. There's only one thing. And then as I heard me saying that, one of the things was, my son then started saying, can you be dishonest because someone didn't see us do it? And I had to really step back and think, oh my goodness, there are some parts in my life that I haven't lived up to this. And we had to sit down and reorganize and say, well, I think that is dishonest, that I was about to justify and try not to pay the bill. I was going to write a letter to the police commissioner saying, I'm sorry, this is an excuse, there's only once in my life I've done this. But that's lying, because I knew I did it. So I had to step back and really review that with him, and really that cemented our honesty values. But it also let him reorganize his thoughts. And what I meant by honesty, it wasn't just about stealing and taking things, it was also about lying at the level of making excuses for something to because I didn't want to pay a fine. So it was really important. That was a lesson for me. Now I'm trying to reorganize, because I think of the child I could knock down doing that. And now the last R, which is one of the most important, which encompasses everything, is to be a role model. You live your life the way you say it. You walk your talk. You live the vision you want your children to have. I remember my mom always said to me, I'd love you to be a great pianist. So she gave us lessons. Okay. One of the hardest things about playing the piano in my household at that time, even though my mother loves us, and she loves music, she always listened to everything from the Chinese opera to, who was that guy, Lionel Richie at that time, who was one of her favorites, and she used to listen to all sorts of music. But she didn't play the piano. After about 4 years of learning the piano, it was really hard for me to keep up with it, and I always said I'm not that good. And I think one of the reasons is because my mother always said I'm not that good in piano, so I'll never learn. And I'm not saying that that's her fault, but I started to role model what she said. Now with my children, as they're starting to learn the piano, I'm now just sitting down with them and relearning it and saying, you know what, at this old age I can still learn it just as good as you. And then we have competitions of who can learn the movies, you know? So we role model. And my children love the music because I actually trying to show them that I'm trying to learn it as well. And I do my practice, so they do their practice. So role modeling is important. So with all that seminars, it's vitally important that we remember that this is just my way of setting up for you what has remained the same for ages. When you think about parenting, those are the things that have really stayed steady for years and years. And you think about it. How many of that is really true, no matter whether you're in the 1950s or in the 1930s or maybe the 1800s? Respect is always there. Having rules is always there. Make sure you have a routine. Being able to manage your household. To be able to review and reflect. To be able to reorganize and role model. Those are important things. Maybe the last three have become more in our lingo because of the big corporate push for us to be more planning. But we have got to learn how to plan our lives. What will be different? I am involved with corporate coaching. How many of you know what coaching is about in the corporate world? How many of you are familiar? Nobody? Coaching, a lot of things, sports coach, soccer coach, badminton coach. We have coaches who don't necessarily always just play on the competition, but the players that they coach become excellent at what they do, correct? But in my job as a corporate coach, what I do is I make people help them get excellent at what they're doing, whether it's running a business, managing a team, being a leader. So I coach them. So one of my big things is I'm a leadership coach. And to me, everybody's a leader. Whether you lead a team, or you lead your life, or you lead your family, you are a leader. The technology we have to be able to bring people to their peak potential is now available. As a coach, I hold a mirror to every one of the people I coach to show them what they're good at and do more of it, and hold a mirror to say, I think this isn't happening. And you know what? I don't tell them what to do. My job as a coach is to say, you are the genius, because you're born one. You live your life, I don't have to. What are you going to do to change this? I ask questions. My job as a coach is, I ask questions, I don't give solutions. As a parent, I'm finding that it's really essential. There's three beliefs I have of my children. There's three beliefs I have as a parent, as a coach. Because there's three things I believe about our children that means that they can do it themselves. I can show them examples of how I run my life so that they get more examples. But after I've given them, shown them, or pointed them to a direction of, let's say for instance, someone saying, I want to learn how to bake a cake. My little girl at 4 years old loved baking. And when people say, yeah, the kitchen's all hot, how can you 4 years old? But I say, I believe that she is not going to go and burn herself. She's not stupid. I believe she's a genius. And all mothers do believe that children are geniuses, I promise you. So how do I show her how to make a cake? She's never known how to do it. So I do it. One of the things I found in the preschool I sent my children to, their motto is, help me do it myself. And part of the role of the teacher is to step back. And we've got Montessori system here, that's what they do. The directress doesn't actually teach. The directress is a person who presents information to the children, step back and let them learn, and only step in when the child asks them. Amazing way of teaching. I didn't go through like that. I was told what to do. And I thought it was a slower process in the end. The parent as coach, one of the first assumptions I have is we are all born geniuses. Our children are born geniuses, so are we. We don't have a book on how to be a parent, but so are we. We are geniuses. We'll find a way to parent the way we think is best. Not how, I don't know, Vidawi thinks we should. Not about how the parenting association of some countries says we should. Not because your mother-in-law said that's how down that all those other things are wrong. I'm just saying that let's find out what we want to put into our families and put it in. Put yourself in there. The next assumption I have is we have all the resources. God did not put you in this world with problems so you don't have a solution to solve it. I firmly believe that. So if we are being presented with a crisis, as my friend was when the family was all practically killed when she was 16, she was presented with the strength to be able to handle that. I went to the Institute of the Achievement of Human Potential, Glenn Doman, in Philadelphia, to learn with him because I really believe that he had it right about children being the best, mothers being the best teacher for their children because you love them. You will create a joy of learning. How many people know Glenn Doman here? Okay. Glenn Doman was an amazing person who worked with brain injured children to teach them how to read, to teach them how to move, because he knows that working with the mothers and fathers and the belief in the child will cause them to move and read. And it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. And I do believe Glenn Doman is amazing. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the website, go up there, search in Glenn Doman or IAHP.com, which is the Institute of Achievement of Human Potential. But anyhow, he believed that the children who are special, the children who are born autistic, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, whatever brain injury you can think of, were given to parents whom God had endowed with the strength and courage to learn from these children. And you know, with that belief, how can you not feel proud to have the challenge to learn from that child who's special? And for those of you who have special children, and I have seen quite a lot of special children through my work, that we could learn a lot from them. Because despite their disabilities, they are living their lives the way they want it. You know, you've got to respect that. So for the parents who have special children, you have the resources. And the last thing we as parents can provide an environment to learn and grow. We provide a good home. We provide a good love. Even when there was no shelter. I mean, how many times have you seen people where there has been a flood, there has been a tsunami? How many of the disasters have we had in the last 12 months? Despite all that, the world comes together to create an environment so people can learn and grow from it. And so in our little microcosm of our little family home, we are the ones, mothers and fathers, who come together to create an environment to learn and grow. Not just for your children, remember? It's a joyful partnership, learning partnership. You learn from them about seeing the world through beautiful eyes. Have you ever had a young child look at a little leaf and a butterfly or something and say, "Mom, this is amazing. I've never seen a chicha. Wow." It's kind of, and then you think, "Oh, just a chicha. I'm making all sorts of noise and doing the poo everywhere." And we see it with amazing eyes. So can we not learn from our children? Can we not learn from our children? So don't be so hassled like I was when I was first pregnant to think, I have to do it right. Don't do it right. Just do it. Don't do it right. Just do it. Because we have all the resources. So the question I ask people, and I would love you to ponder, how many of you are actually parents? Okay. How many of you intend to be a parent? Not just parents, but at some stage in their life you love their children. Okay, nobody dare put their hand up. Okay. The question I want to ask is, what is your intention as a parent? Have you ever asked yourself that question? What's your intention to be a parent? Some people say, well, just because I have children already, I just want the best for them. What do you want? Why do you want the best for them? What does it do for you? You know what? They can show you how it's done. Find out what the intention of a parent and really change the way you think. Our children is our mirror, and I'm about to show you my child. This is Jet. He's a mirror for me. That's near our house in Sydney. He loves Game Boy, which I never can do, so he's teaching me how to do it. I've got Sian. She's loves nature. She'll get down and dirty with anything, and she loves building. She loves creating things. She loves doing things. And I have to teach her how to do that. I'm learning from her to build sandcastles and get myself dirty. And little children just love doing things. I mean, I've never seen that kind of artwork until I went to, I don't know, where is it, Times Square in KL. They started doing all these little things with sprinkles. I'm even learning how to do that. My little girl loves flowers. She loves ikebana. So there's something she does at school really well. And I used to think, oh, you know, it's too much trouble to cut flowers. We go to the park and pick flowers together. They love animals. Children know they love animals. Well, we went up to, this is in KL, where's that place up here, the Tingi, to look at the Arnab farm there, and they just love it. I mean, I used to think that it's sort of fluffy and dirty, but again, look at the concentration on the child. She asked me to read to her, and I was thinking, like, I'm so tired, I've come back from work, I'm picking up my son at the school library. She sat me down with a book and said, let's read it. Look at the engrossing look on that. My son took this picture, by the way. And she loves her books. My son loves to copy us. We have cappuccinos. He has hot milk and chocolate. So that's him wanting to be an adult. He wants to imitate us. And I have no problems. If he wants to do that, that's fine. He just doesn't drink coffee. He's not allowed to. Children love to get physical. How many of you really last time went and did climbing or knocking out with your children? I dare you to. I swear, it's better than a gym. I mean, I've got a tight bottom just from doing that. Because they are my personal trainers. They make me do all these things. They encourage me to. They inspire me to. I can't do the balance bar, but there it is. They do it anyway, but it's teamwork. They've learned how to balance themselves together. And that's inspiration for me. My Jet is very reflective. You can see that he's got a different personality. He'll think before he does. My daughter, cocky as anything, will tell you where to go. And that's just a picture I'm going to show you of different personalities that I have to deal with. My little girl loves to sing. My whole life is about song. I mean, I can't believe some of the songs. She would hear my father-in-law play Teresa Taylor, the 32 songs, and she can sing every one of them. And I can't remember the words. And so you play some Yvonne Sum or Kenyana, I bet she can do Kenyana dances. She loves dancing. That's my little dancer. I consider my Degas painting of a ballerina. But she loves the discipline of actually practicing. But she loves dancing. So when I bring her to Sarawak, and she went to the Sarawak Tourism Centre, she really enjoyed the culture. So one day, any of you can volunteer to teach her some Yvonne, Daya, Kenyana dances. She loves to do that. She loves it. My son and my daughter run through life with joy. It doesn't matter who's leading or who's following. It doesn't matter. And I feel that they are an inspiration to me, and no matter what, there's a smile on their face. You know, not because I've stolen and not to be cheeky, but they have on their face. They give much joy. So what I am leaving with you is that we unleash the potential of our children so that we can transform ourselves. That's my parenting program. It's called TLC, Parenting for Parents. And it is about transforming leaders of tomorrow. So if you ever get a chance, we are creating a new website. My agent here is, my partner representative, because we've collaborated so well together that I'd like her to bring more of these programs to Sarawak, even though I'm based in Australia, because I feel like this is where it's coming home to. You know, you guys have still got this real family sense, and you're so wanting to do it even at a governmental level. That if we can all walk our talk for our children and live our vision, we will have transformed leaders for tomorrow. So that's my new website. It's actually being, so you can take that down. It will come up next month. And those other websites will link up to that, including the paradoxchallenge.com.my, which is where Angela is. She does have information of some drafts. If my talk was too quick, she will have some translations of it in Dayu or whatever it is. So fill out your feedback form. What did you like about it and what you didn't. And also if you need a translated version in your language, put it down with your address and it will get sent to you. I want to thank everybody for being so attentive, and it's good to be home. And I'd really like to come back again, but before this afternoon I'll be doing something on personal image. So I'd like you to really transform what your inner strength is into the outer strength so that your children and people will see you, know who you really are. So thank you so much, and I really hope to see you next time. excellent things to help you with being healthy, beautiful through your fitness and your diet. What I'm here today is actually to show you what it's like to express your personal image, the inner beauty that you have through your behaviors. I mean, today, if you remembered, one of the things that we really wanted to do was to actually show you that what you believe and value, if you show it up as your behaviors, what will happen? So, I won't bore you too much. I would love to be able to jump in and pull up a few more people, but in a little while I might even ask you to sometimes talk amongst yourselves and make it snappy because we've only got a short time. The only reason why I want you to do that is one of the things I found is if you practice quickly what you've learned, you're likely to use it in your life. But if you keep it to yourself and say, hey, I'll think about it, maybe next time I got an opportunity, I'll use it. So I expect you to be daring, talk to a stranger, and maybe do something with it. Alright, that's what I'll invite you to do. Because the more you do, the more you'll be. Again, I'm going to share with you a story. And the story today I want to tell you about is about King Arthur's journey. How many of you know about the legend of King Arthur? Even asleep here. How many of you know the legend of King Arthur? King Arthur. How many don't know? I'm holding now, okay. I'm sure we all know a lot about the story of Hangtua and Hangjabat and all of that. And perhaps it could very well be the story of Hangtua or Hangjabat. So maybe I should say the story of King Arthur and translate it to the local lingo. Now, Hangtua had just been in a very amazing war. And in his battles, for once in his life, he lost. You can't imagine a hero losing, do you? And Hangtua was a bit upset. So he sat under a tree and said, I have lost, and the only way to redeem myself is to find out more about myself. And the person he lost to was actually a magician. It wasn't a normal pahlawan or hero. It was a magician. And the magician had put a spell on Hangtua and said that Hangtua, you have lost, but in 12 months, if you can redeem yourself by finding out a task of what women truly want, you will get your powers back. Now, Hangtua didn't think he knew much about women. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know a lot. My husband doesn't know much about me. But Hangtua was at his wit's end. Not only has he lost his battle, but he has to find out what women truly want. So as he sat under the tree, he thought, you know what? I'm going to find and ask the orang kampung, the people in my village, what women truly want. So he started to interview the first woman that came to his village. What do you really want? And the woman said, I want food. I want food for my children. Food. I think that's just it. And he asked another woman, what do you truly want? I want to have a good husband and a good home. Okay. I don't think that's what the magician's looking for. And he kept asking. And if Hangtua had Google.com, he would be going on a search engine to find out what women truly want. And in the process, I have gone on the search engine to find out what women truly want. And around the world, the things that women truly want include Mel Gibson, money, fame, and that was the whole list of things that Hangtua made. And he went back to the magician at 10 months and said, I think I've got the longest list. Amongst these answers, you must find the answers of what women truly want. And the magician scanned it through his speed reading and found, no, this is not what women truly want. But I'll give you a clue. If you go into the forest and you see a little old lady who is ugly, who has a wart on her nose, who smells and stinks because she is the old witch of the forest, she will have the answer, if you dare ask her. So Hangtua was at his wit's end. Within 2 months, if he doesn't find the answer, he will totally lose all his heroic powers. So he went into the forest to look for this old, lonely cat, who was, as was described by the magician, totally ugly. She looked foul. She smelled stinky. She looked like, all those old stories of the witches with the hook nose, who never had a shower, and as she spoke, she was spitting at you with green, slimy spit. That kind of woman. And holding his nose to our ask, so I have been sent to ask you, what do women truly want? Ah, so my brother sent you, did he? Ah, and I noticed you put a manuscript together on what women truly want. Now, if I tell you, I need a prize, you say, oh, give it to me, I'm just so fed up. She said, but if I tell you what it is, you have to give me what I want. And he said, oh, all right, quickly tell me what it is. He said that Hamjabbat that hangs out with you. He is handsome. He is spunky. If I tell you the answer, will you promise me, because I know you're almost like brothers, that you will marry the both of us? This is his best friend he's talking about. He's about to give this old, ugly hag to him as a bride in order that he can save himself. And he said, look, he's my best friend, I'm sure he will agree. So he took Hamjabbat aside, said, look, I need this answer, will you do it for me? And Hamjabbat said, being the honorable gentleman that he is, said, for you, my friend, I'll do it. So Hamza went back to the woman and said, I'll give you whatever you want. So, okay, I got Hamjabbat, and the answer is, what women truly want is to have their will. In other words, to have their desires, to do whatever they want, to have sovereignty over their lives, to take control of their own lives, to have their will. Is that what it is? I thought I was giving it, okay, fine. So Hamjabbat goes off and got to get Hamjabbat on the wedding day. He didn't hold his nose, Hamjabbat was holding his nose. And everybody was sad for Hamjabbat. But Hamjabbat, in his honorable way, married this old, ugly hag that stank. And of course, Hamjabbat got his powers back because he found the answer, which was right. But what about poor Hamjabbat? And Hamjabbat said to this old hag of bride, as they were on their wedding night, he looked at her and said, you to me are as beautiful as a woman can be. And she said, oh, really? Are you lying to me? And he says, well, I am, but I'm looking beyond what I see. So she said, you know what? I was given a spell. I'm actually a beautiful princess. You know, like the Shrek thing, a princess is beautiful during the day, Fiona is beautiful during the day, and she's an ugly over at night. I said, well, that's the same spell that I have. I'm really ugly all the time until someone can marry me, which you did. But now I have a choice to be ugly during the day and beautiful at night for you. And she just changed herself into this beautiful maiden. Or I can be beautiful during the day, but you sleep in the ugly hag at night. So what would you like? Hamjabbat thought long and hard, and he was a clever man, because he remembered the answer of what women truly want. It is to have their will. So he answered, whatever you will, my bride. And when he said that, the spell was broken, and she could be beautiful all day because he had given her her will. I would clap to that too. So when I talk about personal image, how do you perceive your ideal personal image, and how does the world perceive you? Because the old ugly hag knew she was beautiful inside, even though the whole world saw her as ugly. How does the world perceive you? What does your personal image have to impact your life goals and dreams? Now, you always think the personal image is maybe about, beautiful, driving a Mercedes, being totally fashionable, and being good and kind-hearted and give away all your money, gifts, maybe that's the good personal image. Maybe, maybe not. Only you can decide. Because I'm about to share with you whatever is inside, if you convey it outside in the truest sense, you will truly get what you want. Because the world will see you in your true self with no hidden agenda. The old hag was given the spell of putting on an ugly front, and she had a tough life. So imagine if you can be beautiful all day long because you can have your will to do that. What would it be like? So I was going to actually ask you to quickly turn to your partner. Just pick someone who's next to you, because I'm going to invite you to do something that you don't usually do. Talk to a stranger. Tell them your name. And tell them your ultimate dream. Don't ask me why yet. Just tell them if you had an ultimate dream, what it is. Then step back and say, what's a realistic goal that I can achieve in 12 months that will kind of put me towards the dream? Not close yet, but sort of headed in that direction. I'll give you an example. I'm going to talk to someone, okay? Let's say I'm going to talk to answering one. And I'm going to say, excuse me, my name is Yvonne. And my ultimate dream is to inspire everyone to be their authentic best, to be the best role model for our next generation. And how I'll see that is when I am on Oprah Winfrey, talking on cable to everybody in the world who tune in, that is the message I'd like them to take. That's my ultimate dream. Now the realistic goal is I don't think I'll be on Oprah Winfrey in the next 12 months. Who knows, I may be. But my realistic goal is I'd like to come back next year, 2006. I'm working towards running a parenting workshop here so that all Sarawak parents or parents-to-be will have the ability to change their mindset so that they can be transformed into the best leaders to lead the leaders of tomorrow. That's my realistic dream, and I can see it happening. With your support, of course. Just tell it to someone, because if you never tell your dreams, you don't know who's going to help you. So very quickly, I'm going to basically give you 1 minute to talk to one person next to you, your name, your ultimate dream, and your realistic goal. Then I say, time's up, next person. Then the other person has to tell them. Now I invite you to do this, because don't ask me what it is. Just do it even though you've never felt like you can talk to a stranger. But do it and see what happens, because I'm going to ask you why you're doing it. Okay, and the time starts now. I would never have tried something different and I wouldn't have found anything new. So, be silly. How many of you found it was feeling good to tell someone about? Put your hands up. And sometimes it always feels freeing to let someone else know about it. Now imagine, if it's not just words, Because that is what you're projecting as an image. What's inside will come out. Don't hold it in. This is just a starting point, because we might come back to this in a little while. So hold that thought about how you felt when you did this. Now I'm looking at a great researcher here, Robert Dills, whose work was in breast cancer patients. He actually looked at how the mindset of some of these patients who had developed cancers had influenced their health. And that's the starting point of the research. Some of this research that he is doing now is actually influencing people from top sports people about how their mindset is, to how students study, to how businesses are run, to how leaders can have a mindset of leadership or not. So this is a model called the Ladder of Influence by Robert Dills. And he actually said that if we looked at these areas of things, if I were to draw a line here below capabilities, behavior, and environment, these are things that we can see in a person. But anything above there, beliefs, values, and your identity, and the context by which you pick it, you can't see visibly. Because I'll ask you, can we see our beliefs? Not unless I tell you or actually show you this is what I believe in. Unless I speak it or do something overtly and tell you that's what I'm believing, that you can see it. Values, I mean, how do you see honesty? You've got to see that person over time, don't you? So, a lot of things above that you don't see. But below this line, you're going to draw a line here. Capabilities, behavior, and the environment that you set up can be seen. So, you're looking at your personal image. If you had an image of being able to set up an environment that supports your image, like for instance, if you want to show that you're very rich and impressive, you might want to drive a Mercedes or live in a big house, then that's the environment you're showing people about your image. You might want to dress in the latest fashionable clothes. Okay, that's your image that you're projecting. Or you might say, look, I want to look poor, so I'm going to wear tattery racks so people will take pity on me. So that's your image that you can set. The behavior is like how you do to people, what you do, whether you're being generous or not. And your capabilities, the environment and the behavior influences your capabilities. Because if you, let's say, have got a behavior of generosity, your capabilities might be able to set up charity funds, start looking at ways of maybe getting people together to set up communities to raise money, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you how this area in your personal image, that will be shown to the world. But anything above that is not visible to the world, but it's only available to you. Only you know this. And a lot of us don't think about it. Because if I ask you, what do you believe in? You haven't really thought about it, do you? It's too big. What do I believe in? I believe in God. I believe that spring will follow winter. I believe that the rains will come in the monsoons and we'll get 100 inches of rain. I mean, I don't know. You know, what do you believe in? So, what Robert Dills did was, he noticed that his mother had always, in the context of the home, had an identity of caregiver and nurturer. That was her identity. And she's always said that, I see myself as a nurturer. I am a nurturer. And I value giving my time to my family. And I believe that the more I give to my family, the more I will live. Now these were things that he noticed his mother had said. And Robert Dills then realized that these beliefs then allowed the capabilities to be a great homemaker. She provided a good home. She was always there for them when they came home from school. Her behavior was totally in sync with that of a mother that was preparing things, the environment for her children. Now when all the kids left home, home was in the same context. Her identity was still a nurturer. Her values were still to provide, like to have the value of giving the best for her children, and the belief that she can do it, she's a good homemaker. The children were gone. This identity doesn't fit anymore. She then developed cancer. I'm not saying that that's a link, but suddenly her body was almost self-destroying. I've got no one to nurture children are all grown up. I mean, she was pretty healthy. It was by observing his mother that he started studying all these other women with different autoimmune diseases, where the body was eating up themselves. Anyhow, he did an experiment. He said if he can change the context of his mother and put her into a hospice situation, not to put her there, she's still at a home, but took her to hospices where there were ill people, people who were very sick, who needed caring, who needed someone to nurture and take care of them. She still had the identity of nurturer in that context, and she still had the value of giving to those people, being a great homemaker. But homemaker now in a hospice situation, her capabilities were being used in the identity that she'd identified with. She had remission, and she continued to give care to these people. And in fact, she went there to just inspire them, just talking, just being with them. And so we know that if we are not congruent with our personal image, we might self-destruct. We may not do something like cancer to ourselves, but we might self-sabotage everything that we ever do. Now, you know how some people who kind of get more money, like win it in a lottery, and then just lose it all? Because we haven't got the identity of being able to keep money. It's amazing. So if we can start being aware of what we truly value and believe, it will influence our ability to express it. If we don't, our body and our minds can actually self-sabotage. And I'm in the process of learning a lot about that, because particularly I'm working with women in leadership around the world. I'm looking at parenting and how we can influence our kids to actually become of their own values. I remember this morning I was talking about we do write vision plans and value plans on our business, but do we actually have some sort of a wawasan for ourselves? Do we actually write a life vision for ourselves? Do we actually sit down and analyze what values are the most important in our family and log it in a little book so that our kids can read it? We don't. But what if you don't even want to write it? If you can live it, if you can truly know what you believe in, then you will express it. Now, one of the things that I truly believe in is I believe, and this is where I come from. So this is an example that if you look at this line of influence, I'm inviting you to start thinking of this context in yourself and start analyzing yourself. And I'm not saying that you're going to get a disease just because of it, but I'm just saying if you're becoming more aware of it, you're likely to succeed and achieve things rather than sabotage yourself. So if it was me, my context is the world. Why not make it big? My identity is that I am leading out as a parenting leader because I want to be a great parent, and I'm not an expert by any means, but by leading out and speaking to every woman around the world, I can learn how you do it, so that I can then pass it on to the next set of women. I am leading out to be the greatest parent leader, not because I know everything, but because I want to learn. And my value is learning. Learning from each and every one from around the world. What is my belief? I believe that all of us are geniuses. We've just forgotten it. We just need to be reminded that every one of you here is no better than everybody else. You've just developed skills that are better in some areas. Boy, can we learn from you. I just happen to be standing out here, but if I was sitting next to any one of you, I could learn about the best recipe that you can have for, I don't know, curing arthritis. I could learn about how you can put a baby to sleep because somebody was having insomnia. I want to learn about that. I want to learn about how you can motivate your child away from drugs because that was how you did it. I don't have all the answers. And that's what I believe in. And my capability is I can talk. I can jump up here. I'm not ashamed to come up here and talk about it. I'm not ashamed to bare my soul and show you that I'm real. I'm not ashamed to say I'm not an expert. Because my behaviors that I want to learn. And I will set up an environment to learn. If not for me, for everybody else. So in my family, in my home, as you know, it is a joyful learning partnership where I am not the greatest wise person in the household. I may be the CEO of my household, but I am not the wisest. Sometimes my children are wiser. I don't tell them. But I will hold a mirror, look at them and say, wow, Isn't it wonderful that they can see things of the beauty of a butterfly in sunlight that I've forgotten because I was rushing back to try and cook dinner? So I really feel that if you have that identity, I invite you to look at this ladder and pick what you really want to be. That's why I asked you for your dream. Because if you can have that identity, a lot of that will follow suit. And a realistic goal might actually come quicker than you think. So what's your ideal image? So that was just a way of thinking about it. If you've got a piece of paper and you're going to scribble anything you want, as I talk through this, I'm going to invite you to do this. Walt Disney. And I'll hurry along. Walt Disney. How many of you know Walt Disney? Hands up! How many of you don't know who Walt Disney is? If you don't have children. Walt Disney was an amazingly creative guy. He created the amusement parks and the movies and the cartoons and Mickey Mouse. I mean, who cannot remember Disney? And Disney has been known as a genius of how he creates things in his life. He dreams about it. He dreams about it. He actually sets up a room where he dreams about it. Anything is possible. In that room, funny chairs on two legs, all sorts of different music, hues and colors. It was a dreamer's room. He also had another room in his house that was real. In other words, if he had a dream, he would then go into that room and find out, if I had that dream, what would I need to do to put it in place? And here were all the gadgets. If there were computers then, he would have computers in that room to see whether he can do it. I mean, in those days, he had pencils and pens and he did sketches of Mickey Mouse. And then he had a room where he stepped out of that and became a critic. And in that room, he actually started to criticize, no, that can't be real. That's too bad a dream. I'm going to quality control it so that it will happen and to the best. So let's say it's Mickey Mouse, a mouse with big ears that sings. How can that work? But if it was a fantasy, it was a cartoon, it's not set in real life, it can work. So he started to do this. And one of the big things that he was very good at was to step back and be an observer of his life as a dreamer, a realist, and a critic, and say, if the world saw me as Walt Disney doing this silly stuff, how would it look like? So he suddenly has become an observer observing himself. Now, how many of you would actually do that? Because if you do that, probably people will tell you, you're crazy. You've got out of your body? That's crazy. But what I'm inviting you to do is when you're doing your identity and your values in an image, you're sometimes too close to see yourself. So I'm inviting you to look at Disney's creative cycle and remember to take time to dream away, even if it's 5 minutes sitting under a tree and just dream of what your life could be. Go back to your office and put it down on paper and action plan what is possible with that dream. 5 minutes. Step away and talk it over with your husband that normally probably, I know my husband always criticizes that my ideas are wild. That's a good critic room. And in fact, let's step back with my children who are always good with being honest with feedback, and I'll tell them, this is what I want to do. And they'll see it from their world with me. Get some help. You don't have to do it alone. But go out there and tell someone. That's why I asked you to do it this morning. Just go and talk to someone. I've talked to sometimes people on the plane. I travel a lot and I sit next to someone and I've got this dream. What do you think? And they say, what do you do? I said, I'm a dentist. And they don't think dentists should have dreams like that. I did have a dream of being an international speaker when I was in dental school. That was now 15 years ago. Well, I hung up my drill because I practiced communicating to very anxious people who usually wouldn't want to listen to me anyway. And that was my platform. And now I'm here talking to someone who doesn't live in my home country. But I feel like I'm being at home because I studied here. I've come home. So, dreams are possible. So Oprah Winfrey, watch out. So, go through it. In your dream, if you were to look at the model we did before, dream of what sort of an identity would you like? My dream is I am an Oprah Winfrey guest, where she's going to interview me about how I'm going to change the lives of these people around the world who are going to be great role models for the next generation. And I'm going to be talking to Oprah about it. Really, what beliefs and values will support me in this? I believe it will happen. Just watch me, it will happen. So tune in. One day you'll say, I saw crazy woman on stage, and she did say she was going to be on comedy. And my values is that because if I'm willing to learn and hear feedback, I will get there. Critic. One of the capabilities and behaviors that's stopping me at the moment. One of the things that's stopping me at the moment is there is a little voice in me that's saying, oh, come on, Oprah's so far away. She's got so many famous celebrity friends. Now, why is she going to pick you? Now, I'm going to work on that. And that's a little voice that talks to me. And we all have that little voice. How many of you got a little voice that sometimes you're about to do something and it says, silly you? Why do you think you can do that? Sometimes say to that silly voice, thanks for sharing, now can you shut up and let me get on with it? And I've had to tell that to shut up because if I didn't tell that voice to say, keep quiet, I probably wouldn't be here today. And you know the story of how I got here from this morning. So, and again, remember one of the 7 R's of parenting. I said, step back and review and reflect. So if you've got this dream with a reality check and a critic to quality control it, if you step back and give it a bigger berth and see what sort of thing have I missed, how will the world see me? And if you don't like what you see, tweak it a little bit. Pretend you're a director of a movie, step back. Don't like it, change it a little bit. Because you're the director of your life. You don't need a script writer. You can write it. You don't need some fancy Steven Spielberg to put special effects in it. You can do it. You know, how many disasters have we made in our lives that we had one should not have to take 2 on? Just control our lives. And it all starts with knowing what it is inside. Your image will come through with just the right sort of behaviors and capabilities that you deserve. So the reason why I asked that you to talk to someone, it'd be interesting after this talk, if you can have a cup of coffee or a tea with that person you just shared with. And I invite you to ask them, based on the short conversation of sharing my realistic goals and my life dreams with you, what do you think are my beliefs? What do you think I value? I'm not going to tell you because I've written something myself. Just share with me, based on that 30-second to a minute interaction with me, what was your impressions of my identity? Am I a leader? Am I a victim? You know, you hear people say, you're not allowed to do that, but I cannot do that. It's very easy to say, and we all do it. We all do it. So, once again, like I said, look through this, the dreamer, realist, and critic, and ask them, when I spoke to you in that 1 minute, did you see my dreams? Can you see me doing it? And it's so nice when someone tells you, yes, I can, great. And no, I can't. And if they say, no, I can't, tell me what's stopping me. Why can't I do it? Because sometimes it's good if you haven't practiced enough to ask that person, because you can't step back and that person can actually share with you. And the greater the stranger who has no vested interest for you to behave in a certain way, the better. Now, I share with you my children again. For those people particularly who missed out this morning, I just wanted you to show that this is the image I have of my children's identity, and I'm going to flick them through very quickly, and you think what their dreams are. Is it about a naturalist who loves the art of arranging flowers, who believes she can do whatever she can with that? Is this a socialite who's going to run a cafe, who's going to run a bar? Oh, please don't push drums. You know, I don't know. What does this young man have in his dreams? What do these children, is this a pair of people who are going to keep a balance in their lives? Is the identity about being, sharing, and helping one another? Do they believe that 2 is more synergistic than 1? I don't know. But let me just plant ideas of what sort of identity you'd like to see yourself as you come with your children. And I like to think that I had a part in this. And you know, if someone cocky and really willing to step out there and So let you choose your image. Let you choose what you will. To even be in a spell put by yourself to hide the beauty under the ugly, witchy, haggy, warty, smelly, stinky old hag? Or will you transform yourself into the beautiful woman who will remove that spell on her own by her own free will to express that personal image that the world deserves to see in you? Because you know what? Who's watching you? The next generation. And I invite you, the next generation will be who will be transformed, not just yourself. And that's what makes me wake up every morning excited that I'm going to be a better person because I'm going to live for the next generation. So, when you do that exercise, just remember, this is a quick recap. Go and tell your name to a stranger one day and just share your goals and your dreams. And you will just start happening. Who knows? You might find more magic in a stranger than you ever know. And the one question I'd like to ask you before we finish is, does your personal image that you project help impact your life goals in a positive way or a negative way? You might set a goal and your personal image might actually sabotage it. An example is, you might have a real generous image where you give everything away, but your life goal might be actually to save up enough money to set up a foundation to help somebody else. So there might be an incongruency there. So go and check that out. And does your personal image impact your ultimate dream? Little goals can step up to something, but dream away, because the higher you can dream, even if you reach halfway, you're halfway better than when you started. So your personal image is up to you. Thank you for your attention.
We have 2 mics on both sides of the room. If you have some questions, could you please just raise your hand and enter up will pass the mic.
I'd like to know how do how do we make sure that my personal image is incongruent with my ultimate goal? How to make sure that my, do you understand what I mean?
That is a great question, Fatima. Thank you for that question, because I'm sure that's probably what not only you are thinking. The question is, how do I know whether my personal image is in congruence, is in line, is aligned with my ultimate dream? And as I said, we are all born geniuses, and God did not give us a problem without giving us the resources and the solutions with it. And the solutions, like the little God earlier this morning that I talked about, hid all the treasures inside us. And a lot of times we look outside for validation, which is a great thing. But what I invite you to do is to look inside yourself, ask that question, and check it out. And if you think it's aligned, then validate it with somebody else. Somebody you trust, somebody that you can talk to. So if you, and the only way you can test it is for you to live that life. So my invitation to you is, test it out. Once you made a decision, you have a dream and an image, test it out. See what happens. If you get your goals along the way, what do you think? You must be on the right track. If you don't, that's when you must say, what am I doing wrong? That's why since the 1998, there has been a whole industry called coaching for personal development that has occurred in this planet. Because we've learned that sometimes we can be so close to ourselves that you need a coach for which to ask questions. Now, a coach is someone that we pay money to do that in. But how many of you have got very good friends and family that you trust? That could be your coach. Someone who doesn't just say, poor thing lah. Okay, I hear you lah, poor thing, oh, I don't know how to help you. The kind of coach that you're looking for is someone who, when they hear you have a problem, says, all right, let's hold you accountable to it. How can I help you to let you go for that goal and not let it go. How can I help you, support you? That when you're down and crying, I'm there to help pull you up. Not to let you off the hook. So, in answer to your question, test it out yourself and find someone that you can trust, that you can have that relationship of being able to help you step back from that dream and see whether it's working. Does that answer your question, Kathy? The only way is to try it out.
Perhaps to get a little time to reflect and review the question. We could keep some at the end of the day and we see how it goes. So we do, yeah.
If I may ask another question, sometimes the difficulty is knowing what we want. Sometimes we just don't know what we want. We just live day in, day out, we sleep, we eat, we wake up and time just go on. So how do we know? Sometimes it's difficult to know what actually is for me, what is good for me. Maybe we have SWOT analysis for it. And for me, I'm always discontented. I don't do enough. I don't do enough.
How many of you feel that way? You don't know really what you want, because there's too many things to choose from. You don't know what you want because you're too busy. You haven't thought about it.
Busy doing work.
I feel that way too. Hallelujah. I'm in this field and I go through days like this. One of the things that I've learned through the technology of neurosemantics is there are certain words in our lives that mean emotional meanings to us that are stronger. And if you know, like sometimes people can say, oh, you're so stubborn. The stubborn could be an ugly emotional word that could mean, I don't want to be stubborn. But if someone says, Yvonne, you're so persistent. I said, oh, no, I'm not persistent. Is that the same meaning? Pretty much. So sometimes when you need to compel yourself to find out what you want, maybe the question is wrong. Maybe it's not what I want. Maybe it's what do I desire? What would I love? Maybe it's just the wrong word to use. But what I'm saying is that make the thing that you want so compelling. If it's chocolate, why not use chocolate on this wrapping, colorful wrapping that's enticing you to open it? Why do we give birthday gifts not like, okay lah, hadiah untuk lu lah. We wrap it up. We make it compelling to open and see what's inside. So I would invite you to review and reflect, to step back from your lives, even if it's sometimes in the morning. I'll tell you what my routine is every day. I do a video self-edit of myself, of what happened the day before. I'll wake up 5 minutes in the morning, I'll do my yoga, and as I'm doing my yoga, which is probably only 20 minutes, in the first 5 minutes I ask the question, there's something bugging me from yesterday, what do I want today? That will change that, because I didn't like that. So I can rewind, I can't rewind yesterday, so I need to erase it by doing something else. I actually, in my mind, make a list of things that I'd like to do. Because I'm compelled to not repeat what I did yesterday. So it's a way, there's some people I just sit down. I know a friend of mine who keeps a journal by a diary or a journal by the side of a bed. And at the end of the day, she'll write down things that she'd like to achieve in her life, either tomorrow or in 2 years' time. And then the next day, she'll pick one to start working on. So these are ways you can actually just brainstorm things, and then when you actually have an hour to yourself, maybe you can look at those little highlighted lists and say, what do I want? And sometimes when I've had those lists that I've made, and my friend has made, we've noticed that by the time we're about to plan to do what we want to be, we've achieved 90% of that. Only because we wrote it down. Only because we told someone about it. So the magic is telling someone or writing it down. Because Deepak Chopra always says, if you think it and keep it there, it won't happen. But if you think it, say it or do it, it's more likely to happen. If you think it, say it and do it, and collaborate with someone, how many of you got a buddy that you go tennis with or jogging with? You do it alone, I don't have to show up. But if your friend is coming, you're likely to show up. You do it with someone, and you find it much more compelling. But the first step is, they don't know what you want, you've got to make that step. And make that time. Make that time to be healthy. Make that time to be a better person. If you expect your children to plan, do you expect them to plan for the exams? Have you planned a study plan? And that's important to you to have them finish the exam. What about the exam of life? Do you put a study plan of how Do you want to live a life that's fulfilling to you, or do you want to live a life that's fulfilling to other people? And do you want to have both? I want both. I'm ready. I invite you that anything is possible if you take charge. We are all leaders. We lead our lives. We lead our lives. We are leaders in our lives. So don't ever let anybody tell you you're not a leader. Because I'm telling you what.
Thank you, Yvonne. We could have more questions, but we are running